Bhagavatam ki. Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 28, Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service. Today we'll be doing text number 36. Hare Krishna. We'll all do Mangal Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutha Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangsha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevayat Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So today is also Ekadashi, and for those who follow Chaturmasya from Ekadashi to Ekadashi, then your Chaturmasya starts today. So it depends, right? Some people start on Purnima, some start on Pratipat. My Guru Maharaj follows Ekadashi to Ekadashi because then the last 5 days is the Bhishma Panchak. So you have the 4 months, and then the last 5 days ends with Bhishma Panchak. So it adds up very nicely. But if any one of you is following Chaturmasya, then and follow the Ekadashi, as your starting point, then today is your starting point of Chaturmasya. And also, I think Purushottam month is coming, right? I think 18th, 17th, 18th of July. I don't remember the exact date. Purushottam Mass is also coming this time, so Chaturmasya will be a little longer. So typically Chaturmasya is about 4 weeks. This time it'll extend to about 5 months. Sorry, 4 months, not 4 weeks. I apologize. 4 months, this time it'll extend to 5. So yeah, time for austerities. Text number 36. Sopetaya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahim avastita. Tasmin mahi avasita. Yeah. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetutvam asati kartari dukkhayoryat. Svatman vidhatu palabha paratmakastha. Sopetaya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetutvam api asati kartari dukkhayoryat. Svatman vidhatu palabdha paratmakastha. Vaishnavas. Sopyetaya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetvam api asati karatari dukkhayoryat. Svatman vidat upalabdha paratmakastha. Sopyetaya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetvam api asati kartari dukkhayoryat. Svatman vidad upalabdha paratmakastha. Sopyetaya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetutvam api asati kartari dukkhayoryat. Svatman vedat upalabdha paratmakastha. Sopyetaya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetutvam api asati kartari dukkhayoryat. Svatman vedat upalabdha paratmakastha. Vaishnavis. So api taya charamaya manaso nivritya. Tasmin mahin avasita sukha dukkha bhaye. Hetutvam api asati kartari dukkhayoryat. Swatman Vedato Palabda Paratmakastha. Right, word for word. Saha, the yogi. Api, moreover. Hetaya, by this. Charamaya, ultimate. Manasa, of the mind. Nivritya, by cessation of material reactions. Tasmin, in his mahimni, ultimate glory. Avasita, situated. Sukha dukkha bhaye, outside of happiness and distress. Hetutvam, the cause. Api, indeed. Asati, a product of ignorance. Kartari, in the false ego. Dukkhayo, of pleasure and pain. Yat, which. Swatman, to his own self. Vedate, he attributes. Upalabdha, realized. Paratma, of the personality of Godhead. Kastha, the highest truth. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Chandra Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Thus situated in the highest transcendental stage, the mind ceases from all material reaction and becomes situated in its own glory, transcendental to all material conceptions of happiness and distress. At that time, the yogi realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He discovers that pleasure and pain, as well as their interactions, which he attributed to his own self, are actually due to the false ego, which is a product of ignorance. Purport. Forgetfulness of one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a product of ignorance. By yoga practice, one can eradicate this ignorance of thinking oneself independent of the Supreme Lord. One's actual relationship is eternally that of love. The living entity is meant to render transcendental loving service to the Lord. Forgetfulness of that sweet relationship is called ignorance. And in ignorance, one is impelled by the three material modes of nature to think himself the enjoyer. When the devotee's mind is purified and he understands that his mind has to be dovetailed with the desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has attained the perfectional, transcendental stage which is beyond the perception of material distress and happiness. As long as one acts on his own account, he is subject to all the material perceptions of so-called happiness and distress. Actually, there is no happiness. Just as there is no happiness in any of the activities of a madman, so in the material activities, the mental concoctions of happiness and distress are false. Actually, everything is distress. When the mind is dovetailed to act according to the desire of the Lord, one has attained the transcendental stage. The desire to lord it over material nature is the cause of ignorance. And when that desire is completely extinguished and the desires are dovetailed with those of the Supreme Lord, one has reached the perfectional stage. Upalabdha Paratmakastha. Upalabdha means realization. Realization necessarily indicates individuality. In the perfectional liberated stage, there is actual realization. Nivritya means that the living entity keeps his individuality. Oneness means that he realizes happiness in the happiness of the Supreme Lord. In the Supreme Lord, there is nothing but happiness. Anandmayo bhyasat. The Lord is by nature full of transcendental happiness. In the liberated stage, oneness with the Supreme Lord means that one has no realization other than happiness. But the individual still exists. Otherwise, this word, upalabdha, indicating individual realization of transcendental happiness, would not have been used. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. Oh, fired up purport. So here we are seeing the the attainment of the final stage of the yogic process. Yogic process usually have eight steps, right? Yama, niyama, and you go through the process, and now we are discussing samadhi, right? So last few shlokas, we are now discussing a yogi who has reached the stage of samadhi. So typically, in Mayavad philosophy or in Buddhist philosophy or in Jain philosophy, when they think samadhi, they think that either they have become God, right? Or B, they are now not there. They are now, completely divine. Right? So you have those two realizations. But here, or in this chapter, true samadhi is being described. Right? The samadhi means that one is now able to quit dwelling in the material world, situate himself in the material, and now deal with the Supreme Lord Krishna. All three stages. Right? Typically, a jnani or somebody who is stressed by the material world wants to quit his material, entanglement. Definitely wants to quit that. Right? So those personalities may go into the higher regions like Tapaloka, Janaloka, like the higher planets where that is all they do. All they do is focus on improving the samadhi. Right? Then there are some who wish to not only cessate, but also wish to, switch to the Supreme. So one is cessation of material activities, one is wanting to switch to the Supreme. Right? So some of these become Brahmavads. We have very great Brahmavads. Right? In Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the 4 Kumaras, great Brahmavads. We have Sukadev Goswami himself. Right? He was a Brahmavad when he was born. And then slowly by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, he became a devotee. Right? So we have great personalities who are Brahmavads. Such Brahmavads wish to not only cessate material activities, but also switch to the spiritual side. But at this point, they are not able to recognize who is Krishna. So they may want to switch to the spiritual, but they don't know what to do in the spiritual world. Right? So that is the final stage where we as devotees, we now recognize not only do we have to stop our material activities, not only do we need to switch to the spiritual world, but now we need to deal with the Supreme Personality of God. So all three stages, this is perfection. This is samadhi. Now the mind is able to function appropriately. Right? We can't tell the mind, stop. That is not possible. Right? Arjuna is himself telling this. Arjuna's mind is bewildered the moment Krishna puts the chariot in the middle of the battlefield. Right? Typically, when you come in the middle, you are balanced. Agree? When you come in the middle of something, people say, don't go too extreme. Stay in the middle. Isn't it? If you're in the middle, you're balanced. Arjuna comes in the middle and he gets bewildered. What's going on? This completely breaks down. Like complete, shattered. The shattering of whatever one's thoughts are. So, what we have to appreciate is that while we may think that we want to come to a balanced state, the real desire is to actually deal with Krishna. Arjuna then recognizes the moment he gets bewildered, what does he do? He immediately looks to Krishna and says, I want to surrender. Shishyaste ham sadimam tvam prapanna. Yes, so I am prapan. I am now surrendering. Right? You please take care of me. So this is Arjuna's desire when he sees Krishna. So for all of us, we need to know that as our process of samadhi improves. Now you all may be thinking, are we in samadhi? Yes, when you are chanting, you are in samadhi. Even though the mind may be bewildered, right? The mind is very bewildered. Sometimes you're sitting and you're chanting and you're thinking so many things. Like today morning, I was working on Office PowerPoint. For 1 hour, I was hammering on the PowerPoint. Wake up in the morning, right? Chant 1 round and then start working in Office. You bewildered, right? Bewildered. Mind gets heavily bewildered. Very bewildered. We cannot, for us, as we are going through a process, we will see that the mind gets heavily deviated. For all of us, right? Irrespective of whether you are living in the ashram or you are living outside the ashram or you are the one in between. As Jananand Goswami says, Brahmastra. Neither brahmachari nor grihastha, Brahmastra. Can destroy many things. But, I like that term. So, in whichever range we are living, right, our mind gets agitated. So one may consider, am I in the stage of samadhi? So the interesting thing is, in the process of Krishna consciousness, in this process of bhakti, we are appreciating samadhi right from the get-go. From the beginning, we are able to appreciate samadhi. When you are chanting, you are asked to sit down and chant. Or even if you are walking, to listen to one's chanting. So that is actually the process of samadhi. That is the process of samadhi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Now sometimes mind will be like, oh yeah, but aren't you supposed to finish that PowerPoint? Yeah, which slide number? Oh, what will you write in that slide number? The mind is moving. It is moving. It is agitated. The mind is agitated. But what we are not realizing is just the physical act. Even the physical act of chanting. Physical act, right? Not fully absorbed. Just the physical act is an act of samadhi. Right? That is an act of samadhi. That's amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing that act is the act of samadhi? So, we are in the process of samadhi. And this is the acceleration that Bhakti Yoga provides. You are skipping, we are doing yama and niyama. We have our rules of, we have our do nots, right? We have our niyama, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. We have our niyama, we have our yama, we have our rules, please chant 16 rounds, follow Ekadashi, today's Ekadashi. We have so many, we have yama and we have niyama. You are, covering, you have, what is yama, niyama? Asana, sitting. All of you are sitting in a certain way and shape. Especially it is said, if you read Nectar of Devotion, that when you're sitting in front of the deities, one should not raise one's leg. You have all these rules. So your asana is covered, right? Then, your pranayam, your breathing, right? It is typically, when you start chanting at a pace, then it is said that in one breath, one should try to do 2-3 rounds, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So, you slowly try. I know some people who can do 4 rounds, 5 rounds in one breath. Like, they actually go pretty fast. You're able to do quite fast. So, there is that pranayam is there. It is, attached pratyahara, right? Pratyahara we are all doing. What is pratyahara? Withdrawing our mind, right? Ahara means to come and, completely enjoy. Pratyahara means to withdraw. Are you getting? Pratyahara, you withdraw. So how are we withdrawing? Nobody's going out to the pub, no one's going out to the bar. Instead, we are waiting for Mahaprasad to come up. Right? Offering is done. Don't worry. Sometimes you can smell the puris. So, Gopinath is so glorious. So we can feel, we are pratyahara. This is pratyahara. You have withdrawn, but now, it doesn't mean that there is no engagement. You have withdrawn, but there is engagement. Right? Pratyahara, then dharana, then, now you have established, then you have dhyana, now you are concentrating, and samadhi, now you are, this is samadhi. We have done all of these 8 stages, by the way. In all the previous shlokas, we have gone through these 8 stages. Right? So, yama, niyama, I don't know if you remember in the beginning, this is how you sit, this is what the yogi does. Asana, pratyahara, pranayam, pratyahara, all of that has been discussed. Now, samadhi. Right? Now you are in samadhi. This is your stage where you're sitting, you're like, I'm in samadhi. And what are you doing in samadhi? All of these stages accelerated in chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. You're directly discussing with Krishna. Why are you chanting? Krishna likes it. So, you are aligned to Krishna's happiness. What is the entire purport of Srila Prabhupada? What is he trying to say? Align with Krishna's happiness. Right? Anandmayo bhyasat. This is from Vedanta Sutra. I forgot which shloka number of Vedanta Sutra, but this is there. Anandmayo bhyasat. That Krishna, he is Anandamaya. Right? So, Srila Prabhupada mentions this. And in Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami goes into the detail of this. But he talks about the various consciousness. This is in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, right? I think it is chapter 13, the various stages of consciousness. He talks about, you can be Annamaya. Annamaya meaning, I'm into the grain. The Anna. I'm just interested in myself. Child. Like I have a 8-week-old baby now. So child is only interested in himself. He doesn't care what's going on. Many times I tell my kid, I say, just calm down, man. I'm just going there, I'm coming back. No interest. No interest in other people's situation. Zero interest. Okay? Annamaya. Okay? Then, after Annamaya, what is the next thing Srila Prabhupada explains? Pranamaya. Right? So now, okay, parent is looking prana. Oh, okay, I have to take care of my child. I have to take care of my family. You see? Pranamaya. You're looking at other pranas and you're thinking, okay, I have to collectively take care of a few people. Not a lot. A few people. But the caring for them is focused on Anna. On giving happiness. Right? I have to give happiness to them. That's all the focus is. So this is Annamaya, Pranamaya, then Manamaya or Jnanamaya. Correct. Manamaya or Jnanamaya are the same. Like Jiva Goswami says they're similar. And Srila Prabhupada also. Srila Prabhupada writes Jnanamaya, but that is Manamaya. Right? And so in this stage, what you're doing is you're lifting up. You are now becoming an administrator of a society. Jnanamaya. You are trying to go upwards and say, okay, how do I organize a city? My son was telling me that in his school, he was saying next term, Daddy, we'll be doing geography and we will know how to run a city. I was like, very good. Jnanamaya. You're learning Jnanamaya. You're learning how. I said, how would you take care of the city? So my son is thinking for some time and then he's saying, I'll ask the bank to print money. I was like, okay, that's one way of thinking about it. I said, you need to collect taxes. That's the first thing you have to do. So this is what Manamaya and Jnanamaya does. Right? You immediately start, okay, I'll collect tax, I will set up a society, I'll make it work. Then, beyond that, you become Vijnanamaya. Now you've reached the Brahmanical stage. You see, you're now in the fourth stage, you're Brahmanical. You're saying, okay, I'm a Vijnanamaya, I now understand society needs to function, but I'm also recognizing I'm not part of the society. I'm not feeling part of the society. And this is something very intriguing. That is, because US is the boiling pot of cultural, the cultural mix. There you are seeing that, the younger generation, they are struggling. They're trying to figure out, are we part of society or are we individuals? Right? They're struggling with this. Well, I'm an individual, I can think anything I want. Okay. But then I'm living in society, though, so society should let me think whatever I want. You see, they're struggling with this. How are you part of society? Right? Yet you're a little away from society. So this is Vijnanamaya. So there is a stage within the Vedic knowledge, within Vedanta Sutra, that talks about how to be a Vijnana. How to understand that society has its place, but individually also I have a place. Are you noticing? That balancing act. Vijnanamaya, that's typically Brahmanas. Annamaya is Shudra, Pranamaya Vaishya, Manamaya or Jnanamaya is usually your Kshatriyas, then Vijnanamaya the Brahmanas. Typically the Brahmanas. But then there is the fifth stage, which is Anandamaya. Oh, now you are in good consciousness. Why? Because in Anandamaya, your happiness is aligned with the Anandmaya Abhyasa. Right? With the Supreme Personality of God. And so the process of chanting, right, is something Krishna likes. The flute of Krishna. When it plays, the Hare Krishna mantra comes up. Right? There's a very nice series on the flute of Krishna done by Indradumya Swami. If you go into YouTube, he's done very nice. He has done 2-3 series on the flute of Krishna. Right? The ecstasies of the flute of Krishna. Very nice. Right? So in this in the flute of Krishna, you can recognize that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is the playing of the flute. And Krishna loves playing his flute. Right? He loves playing it. It is from his lips, it is coming out, and that mantra is something that we are chanting. So there is great closeness to Krishna in that. Great closeness. Right? So this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is happiness that is aligned to Krishna. So therefore, it is samadhi. It is samadhi. Although the mind is deviated. Although the mind is 100% deviated, right? Like I can tell you from my own example today morning, heavily deviated. Right? But these things happen. Although that is the case, we are still in the stage of samadhi. So now sometimes you may be thinking, why am I frustrated in Krishna consciousness? Sometimes you may consider, why is there frustration? Well, the frustration is, you are able to see the spiritual, but we are stuck in the material. So that is what is causing us frustration. Right? Typically, other folks are getting frustrated just by the material world. We are getting frustrated because we can see the spiritual, but we are still here. So now, in the last few shlokas of this chapter, it is being explained how we can stay where we are in the material world and still be happy. Right? And so this is, I'll just read one of these lines. Swatman vidata upalabdha paratma kastha. Right? So that's the last line of the shloka. And this is beginning by saying that suddenly the soul realizes that everything in this material world that is occurring is because of me. I am causing all these problems. Not Krishna. Typically we think Krishna is causing all the problems, right? If you have a problem, you'll come to Krishna and say, Krishna, why did you put me in trouble? Isn't it? Oh Gopinath, oh Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, oh God Nitya, why did you put me in trouble? Actually, once we are at this stage, I put myself in trouble. Gopinath didn't put us in trouble. I put myself in trouble. Are you appreciating? So that switch will occur, right? And at this point, we will realize Srila Prabhupada's, lines, like the line that he used to always tell. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. The two lines, right? Yama, Niyama. Are you appreciating? Yama and Niyama. Yama is the rule. Always remember Krishna. The regulation, Niyama, never forget him. Yeah, you understanding? This is all yoga. All of this is yoga. Srila Prabhupada dumbed it down, made it so simple for us. We don't even know we are following the yogic process. None of us know it. We are following full-on yoga. Like the core of what yogic practice is. Right? And what happens when you follow yoga? This is very intriguing. When you follow yoga, then you come out of Mahamaya and you enter Yogamaya. Are you understanding? Krishna has Maya. Right? There are two types. There is Mahamaya, where we are wonderfully, swimming in. And then every now and then, we come into the position where we are able to be in touch with Krishna's Yoga Maya. So as you go through this yogic process, we will finally be able to get in touch with Yoga Maya. You understanding why we follow the yoga process? Why follow Bhakti Yoga? So eventually we are able to come fully under the influence of Yoga Maya and step away from Mahamaya. That is our problem. Right now, we are within Mahamaya, and Mahamaya you have Gunamaya and Jivamaya. Jivamaya and Gunamaya. Right? Gunamaya is the gunas are creating things. Right? So this mic is created. Right? This mic is created. Gunamaya. Now Jivamaya is, it's my mic. Right? So Gunamaya creates the illusion and Jivamaya applies the illusion. Are you understanding how Maya works? I'm talking Mahamaya. We're now discussing Mahamaya, right? So in Mahamaya, first the illusion is created and then the illusion is applied. Are you understanding? There are two stages. So you might hear Srila Prabhupada use the word covering and effective. He's all talking Gunamaya and Jivamaya. Right? So whenever you read this, that is what is being discussed. The covering and then the application. Right? So Gunamaya and Jivamaya. This is Mahamaya. This is the situation of Mahamaya. But as we are doing our yoga process, we are trying to step away from this and we are now trying to enter Yogamaya. Are you understanding our journey? This is the journey we wish to take. Right? And this journey that we want to take, right? There might be some impediments. Srila Prabhupada said, right? I always said this was a simple process. I didn't say it was going to be easy. It's a simple process. Simple doesn't make the road easy. Like you want to go from here to Chatswood. Yeah, just sit on the bus and just get there. It's simple. Now you are thinking, okay, it's simple, but now I have to wear warm clothes, right? Step outside, go to the bus stop and realize, oh, I forgot my Opal card. Turn around, come back, take your Opal card and go back. Now you missed the bus. Oh no. Now you're sitting waiting for 15 minutes for the next bus to come. Right? The bus comes and you're like, yes, the bus has arrived. You sit on the bus and then the bus breaks down half the way. Oh no, again you have to get off the bus. Or either transfer to the train or wait for the next bus. And suddenly getting to Chatswood is so hard. It's so hard to get to Chatswood. Isn't it? Just so hard. Yeah. But process is simple, but the pathway may not be easy. The path may have difficulties. So that's padam padam yat vipadam natesha. Right? Every step there is vipada. For every pada, for every step there is something that is opposing it. Right? There is a vipada. Padam padam yat vipadam natesha. Who is this? Prahlad Maharaj. He's saying this. A very powerful statement from a young 5-year-old boy. So the idea here is that although we are going through our journey, as we are trying to bring ourselves under the influence of Yoga Maya, right? In that journey, there will be some impediments. But in this shloka, we are talking about somebody who is now fully within Yoga Maya, under the control of Yoga Maya, right? Although physically, you may be positioned in the material world. Your physical GPS location may be here in the material manifestation. We are now fully spiritualized and therefore we are living in the spiritual world. Although physically we may be present in this material manifestation. And so this is how, this is how the Vaishnavas, this is how they are seen. That is why when Ganga Devi asks, Krishna that you are sending me down to the material manifestation, I will get the karmas of so many jivas. He says, yes, that is true. He says, and how will I get rid of all of this? He says, when the Vaishnavas come, right? When the Vaishnavas, just like the normal, karmis will come in and bathe in Ganga, so will the Vaishnavas. And as the Vaishnavas come, you will be relieved of all of this sinful, sinful reaction that you are carrying. So the Vaishnava is able to do this because he is actually fully spiritual. Are you understanding why he is able to do this? Because the Vaishnava is fully spiritual. Because he is completely under the control of Yoga Maya. That is why the very first offense when we, in the chanting, right, we say that please do not offend the Vaishnavas. Don't offend them. Why? Because, they are trying their best. They are under the influence of Yoga Maya and Krishna likes them. Why does Krishna like them? Because the happiness is aligned. Are you understanding why there is likeness? Because Krishna, something makes Krishna happy. The devotee is doing that. So it makes Krishna happy. Right? So that is why. Like, that is the samam bonam of why Krishna finds the devotee very dear. Right? So Krishna says, right, Name dveshto sthena priya. Like, when it comes to the material world, I don't find, I am, neutral to everyone. But still the devotee, he's very dear to me. Why is he very dear? Because he's aligned to Krishna's happiness. So Srila Prabhupada in this, this is such a beautiful purport. Srila Prabhupada is saying that, if one can align himself to the happiness of Krishna, we can deal with the material world very nicely. The only way to deal with the material world is to be aligned to Krishna's happiness. That's it. That's the only way to deal with it. Otherwise, this material world, I don't know if you recognize this, that in the word for word translation, there is the word dukkhayo. Right? And Srila Prabhupada translates the word dukkhayo as pleasure and pain. Typically we think dukkha as only pain. No. Here Srila Prabhupada is saying that dukkhayo is pleasure and pain. That is dukkha. It's a tough place. I was talking to one boy, he's part of my Bhakti Vriksha, and he was telling me that he lost his job yesterday. And he's very sad. Right? He's very sad that he lost his job. And yep, that is true. And just, I think a couple of weeks ago, he was telling me that he was very happy that he got a job. Amazing, isn't it? 2 weeks ago, he was very happy that he had got a job. He had sent message to me, I've got a job, I'm very happy. I told him, Jai, mercy of Krishna. Then I think yesterday he told me that I've lost my job. I said, okay. I said, sometimes, Krishna plays. What can we do? So you see, this is the thing. This is dukkhayo. We may get pleasure, but instantly we'll get pain. This is King Chitraketu. Right? When King Chitraketu is blessed with the son, what do Angira and Narad Muni tell him? That this son will give you great pleasure and great pain. Hence his name will be Harsha Shoka. Harsha, one who gives you great happiness, and Shoka, one who gives you great pain. Of course, they only would call him Harsha. Who remembers the Shoka? Remove that. Now when he is gone away, and the king is bewildered and distressed, when the sages come back, what does he ask them? Who are you? He says, oh, let us reintroduce ourselves. We are the ones who had blessed you. And now we are the ones who are going to tell you about the pain. You see, amazing, isn't it? And this is how we deal with pain. As human society develops within, into the world of IT, and we get into into our phones and computers, we have lost our tolerance for pain. We can tolerate pain, all of us can. Lots of pain. Right? Do you remember once upon a time there was no air conditioner or heaters? Ooh. Yeah. And they had 8899 kids at that time. Right? Now if you have one child, it's like such a big thing. It is. So the point here is that as the society is going, we have lost our tolerance for pain. But actually, as you progress in Krishna consciousness, your tolerance for pain increases. We are able to deal with the material world with all of its pangs. And there are 6 pangs. Hunger, thirst, lamentation, right? The 6 pangs of miseries, Srila Prabhupada writes. Right? It's so beautiful, right, Srila Prabhupada? Right? So we'll be able to deal with it. So here, the yogi is now, just summarizing, the yogi is now in the stage of samadhi. And in the stage of samadhi, he has completely aligned his happiness with Krishna's. And now he is able to agree to the fact that everything that is happening within this material world is his fault. Right? It is because he is dealing with the material world, dealing with ignorance, so this happens. We deal with it. I don't know if you ever get a chance to read Srila Prabhupada's, Giriraj Maharaj's book, I'll Build You a Temple. You'll see so many times Srila Prabhupada would tell, okay, then it's finished. Like, we cannot build this temple. It's finished. It's finished. And Taman Krishna Maharaj would be shaking, and Bhavananda Maharaj would be shaking, and Giriraj Maharaj would be shaking, oh, we did the wrong thing. And then immediately next day, Srila Prabhupada fired up again. Why? Because he's realizing, okay, because of ignorance, this situation is now there, we'll deal properly with it, we'll rectify it. Right? So this is a devotee. Devotee is able to recognize that the outcomes are happening because of ignorance, and so therefore it can still be rectified. So we will end here. Devotees want to share something? No? Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande. Nityananda.